Hello, groomers! You found the GroomPod. Welcome to our virtual salon. My name is Susy, and I'm your host. I'm a mobile groomer from Seattle, Washington, and anybody who knows me will tell you I love to talk, especially about my job. And one of my favorite people to talk to is my friend and mentor and the co-star of this show, the curator of ingredients, Miss Barbara Berg.
Hey, Susy, I'm so happy to be here this beautiful summery day. So what's up? What are we doing?
It seems like it's been forever since we've been together
Oh,
on the
it is.
podcast. Yeah. Well, we were busy doing other things, but here we are. Welcome to episode 452 of the GroomPod. Recorded on July 20th, 2025 in Snohomish, Washington, and in Greenville, South Carolina. This podcast is brought to you by our kind sponsors, Best Shot, Show Season, Precision Sharp, Groomore, and Stasco. And if you guys would like to support the show and support Barbara, you can do so at our website, thegroompod.com, by using the donation button that goes straight to Barbara, or joining us on Patreon to support the show on a more lengthy manner. This week on the GroomPod, we're going to talk grooming notes, why your records matter. And Barbara's going to give us a review of the iGroom all-in-one shampoo and a general iGroom update. So what's new this week is brought to you by Groomore Software. If you haven't found Groomore, you're missing out. Groomore is an all-in-one software solution for your grooming business. Whether you are a solo mobile groomer or manage several shops, Groomore has everything you need. 24-hour online booking and forms, routing, credit card processing, reminders, Google Calendar and QuickBooks integration, and so much more. And the best customer service anywhere. Shop mobile or house call, Groomore has you covered. And they're giving us a free month. Just enter GroomPod22 in the coupon code. Well, summer is officially here because my legs look like I've walked through a blackberry bush from all the puppies jumping up on me and scratching me with their freshly groomed nails. Ugh, I've got scratches and it looks terrible. Terry's like, well, I hope they don't think I'm beating you up. Oh, goodness. So I went to a new house. So I went to a house next to my house, well, a little bit up the street, as next to we are, as next to a house as we can have out here in the woods. And I swear when I got out and met the lady, I was talking like an auctioneer. I was going a mile a minute because I haven't had to have a new people for so long that I was so nervous at getting these people. And the key was they have 2 Havanese. I'll pretty much take Havanese if they get to me on the phone, and they did get to me on the phone, so darn it. So I took this new Havanese pair. The lady's name is Sue Smith, and I'm Susie Scott, so we kind of are similar in our generic names. But I got there. The dogs were lovely. The house is on the golf course. It's a big Street of Dreams house. It's beautiful, and they are very nice people. But the haircut that the dogs had the really, 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 really long ears and a really, 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 really long tail and then a short body and legs. And it looked so silly, so clown-like with these unbalanced ears to the haircut. And so I gently said, "Are you attached to the long ear look?" And she said, "Oh, no, absolutely not." So I whacked those babies off, and I took 10 years off their life, I swear, off the older dog. The younger dog just was gorgeous anyway, but what nice people. Their little kids, their little grandkids wanted to come out and watch, so I let them come out and watch a little bit in the trailer. Of course, it's hot out, so the door's open, so they got to see. And then they went to the pool. How nice is that? As I slaved away in the hot trailer. But it was a good first visit. I felt encouraged. I even booked their second appointment because, as you know, I don't deal well with rejection. Luckily, I don't have to do it very often, but I generally take new people without booking the second appointment and make them call just in case they didn't like me. I wasn't their style or the haircut was bad or whatever. But I knew I was in with these people. They were so happy. They're like, oh, never retire. I said, don't worry, I won't. I'm good. I'm just going to keep going like the Energizer Bunny.
Did you take anything off the tails?
Yes, I made everybody proportionate and they were like, "Wow, that looks so different." So the tail was still slightly longer because it's a beautiful they both had beautiful tails, but more proportionate to what I left on the body, and I did a yellow comb on the body with the clipper vac.
Yeah.
So enough hair so that they looked fluffy and they're every 8 weeks, so they'll have plenty of time to grow out and look nice, but it just always fascinates me how much younger they look if you take off the ears and the tail that isn't balanced. So it was cool.
I agree, but coming from show Los Aptos, it's difficult for me to. I finally got to where I'm comfortable doing the ears, but the tails don't grow as fast as ears or body. It took me a long, long time to get comfortable shaping and shortening drop coated dog tails.
I probably wouldn't have taken quite as much off, except for the amount of detritus and yard waste and algae and stuff that were in these dogs' tail. It was very damaged. And when you held the tail out, you could see a lot of air in the end of
Yeah,
it. So I just kind of took the air out and reshaped it a little bit so it didn't all hang right over the butt so that it caught the
yeah,
dingleberries and stuff. There were a few of
yeah.
that as well. So it was fun. I like them. They are less than 5 minutes from my house, which means they're neighbors. And they might even see me ride the horse past one day. You never know.
That's cool.
You were very busy the last 3 weeks. We've kind of been out of touch here a little bit with the podcast because we did the Think About It webinar. And I really had a good time. And did you enjoy putting on that webinar?
Oh, I did. And you know what? I love to think about it. I think that just encapsulates my job, my who I am in the industry, the person that will cause you to think about it, to stop. Oh, let's think about that. So I just loved that I hit on that. I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed putting it together, and I really had a difficult time putting together a new PowerPoint, and I enlisted the help of AI, not for the content, but for the design element. And I did three PowerPoints, and one of them was brand new and utilized the AI coach. And I think that presentation was just like really engaging. And they would give me like six selections of how to make that slide look. And I said, oh, yeah, let's do this one. And oh, yeah, this is a good look. And
It was a really striking presentation with the way it got
yeah,
arranged, that first one. Really nice.
yeah, thank you. I was very proud of it. I was proud of all three of the presentations. And I'm very excited about the frothing experiment. Well, it's not an experiment, but the frothing study that I'm doing. And I'm trying to bring a little science by groomers, not just science by somebody out there that applies to grooming, but actually science created by and for groomers. And it's the closest I've ever come to my dream, a lab, and I would like to have an SEM photograph imaging machine and all of this kind of stuff. No, I don't get to do that, but I've got a frothing study, and it's amazing the pictures that I'm getting of the foam on my iPhone at 10x. It's amazing. I'm so excited about that. And so, what I'm going to do next is like finish that study, write it up, get a couple of my peers to review it, and send it off to Berkeley for publication.
Cool.
So sometime late fall, we'll probably see it pop up in a groomer to groomer, and it'll be science by a groomer.
I love that. You know what I really enjoyed about the webinar is it was quite well attended. And even though we did have a little technical glitch on the first weekend, most people came back for the second weekend and they all have access to the repeat viewing of the video for as long as they want. So that worked out really well. It was fun to host it. I now kind of have it down. I mean, I don't want to be overly confident, but I think I figured out how to work with the chat and how to interact with the speakers and how to keep everybody flowing. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, I think you're a great facilitator, Susie. You're just really polishing up that job.
I like it. It's fun. Plus, I get to learn for free. Oh, learning for free. I love it. So, I think that perhaps Barbara's next focus might just be how to dissect an ingredient label. We may do that as a smaller type of a webinar, and hopefully, everybody will join in as much as they did with this other one.
Well, yeah, because here's my dilemma or like where I'm stuck. Know pretty much how to dissect an ingredient list. And I keep being asked to do that. And I almost always fall for it. I mean, I just want to do it
It's because you like it.
because I like doing that. And I'm going to try to help other people be able to do it themselves.
I love that idea.
And we can discuss how we see a new product and its ingredient list. Instead of just waiting for me to give the news flash, I want to empower groomers to be able to do it themselves. I don't want to just be this expert that's the only one that can do it. That's not educating.
And it starts from being able to recognize an incomplete ingredient list versus a complete ingredients list. And these are things that Barbara can easily teach us because she has a way of putting things out there that makes it easy for us regular groomers who don't have a lot of sciencey background to learn about the ingredients and how to take apart the ingredient list and how to do it yourself.
I'm looking forward to doing that, and we'll just like provide that. That's going to be one of my next webinars. Is doing that.
You had a request for the listeners to perhaps give you some feedback on what would be helpful for them in doing this.
Listen, I'm open to hearing from listeners and groomers of any way they think I can be more valuable, that my knowledge and my mind can be of more value because I'm no longer using my hands except on my two little Maltese. So it's me and my thoughts. How can I make a difference? What do you need from me? So be thinking about it. Think about it. And
So I'm going to mention that if you want to get a hold of Barbara, Facebook Messenger is probably not your best bet because she doesn't look at that often. As a matter of fact, you have a message waiting in Messenger from one of our listeners, and I completely forgot to tell you that she sent a message in there. So go look for that message. I don't know what it is.
I'm terrible, I just if it doesn't kind of pop up on my phone and interrupt me, I might go days and even weeks before I find a Facebook Messenger message. But I like that way. I don't mind people contacting me that way. Just have to be really patient.
Or you can message us both And then I'll remind Barbara that there's a message up because that's what I told this lady I was going to do. And yeah.
Or you can go on the GroomPod Facebook group. That's the GroomPod discussion group, and tell me there, hey Bird, there's a message for you in Messenger.
So give us some feedback, what you want to hear. What do you think Barbara can do? What would help you understand ingredients better, ingredient labels better? Yeah, all that stuff. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, well, let's take a break and then we're going to be back with this exciting topic that I came up with this morning, which is about your grooming notes. Well, that's how Sundays work.
That's how Sundays work for us. It's our day.
Let me tell you about Best Shot's newest addition to the Ultramax Pro line. Ultramax Hair Hold is a flexible hairspray that can be layered on for a stronger hold. Ultramax Hair Hold Spray is great, but my favorite new product is called the Max, and I won't groom without it. It's a fragrance-free ultra-concentrate conditioner and detangler. It reduces drying time and handles undercoat and tangles like magic. Just a few drops in the final rinse or spray it on and dry it in. Contact your favorite Best Shot distributor or learn more online at bestshotpet.com. Grooming success begins with Best Shot in your tub. Made from the best stuff on earth.
Just to reiterate something that popped up on the GroomPod discussion group, just what is meant by a few drops.
Oh,
I explained it that a few drops means less than a teaspoon. In fact, probably less than a half a teaspoon or right thereabouts. It's Best Shot's way of saying a little bit goes a long, long way with the Max. It's highly concentrated. It's more highly concentrated than probably any other detangler that you've used to date. And it doesn't build up so you don't notice that you're using more than you have to. A few drops, I would say, depends a little bit on the size of the beast you're conditioning, as well as the thickness of that coat. For a big beastie, like my bearded collies that I used to groom, you're going to use more than a few drops, probably more like a teaspoonful. But my small dogs that I just gave a nice little clip to, those dogs can be conditioned with just a half a teaspoon of the Max concentrate, or you can do it the way that I used to do it, which was to dilute the concentrate 16 to 1 in a measuring bottle that has ounces marked off, and then just use an ounce of that diluted in a gallon or two of water that you're going to use for your last rinse. And just rinse it off or just leave it in, either way.
yeah, if it's used by itself, it does not need to be rinsed out. If you're going to mix it with a conditioner at the normal strength of a conditioner, you want to rinse that conditioner out. But the Max will grab on even in the products.
Yeah, the Max is going to grab on to the hair. It's a cationic conditioner. So it's going to work in reverse of your cleansers. As soon as it contacts the surface of the hair, bam, it connects, it hooks up. It hooks up. It's just a hooking up fool, a conditioner party, you know. So that when you're using a creamy conditioner, the reason you want to rinse it through is that some of those fatty alcohols like cetyl alcohol, stearyl alcohol, or ceteryl alcohol, they're kind of a little bit waxy. You just don't want to leave a lot of that creamy stuff in the coat. It's better to rinse that and leave what's deposited on the coat there. It's up to you, but that's how we do it.
And then one other thing to mention is that if you're looking for a scent-free drying spray, which has been asked a bunch of times, Just the max diluted in a bottle works fantastic. It never adds a scent, it never adds any weight. You can use it on every dog, and really, it's an amazing product. It's an amazing ingredient, is what it is. And I'm so grateful they released it. It really is helpful for my life.
Yeah, I consider it a gift from Best
Yes,
Shot. That product is a gift from Best Shot.
I totally agree.
Ready, groomers? Here comes our first appointment.
And we're back. Today, we're diving into a topic that might not seem the most glamorous, but it's one of the most crucial aspects of providing top notch pet care: the grooming notes, your haircut notes. Think of them as your secret weapon for consistency. I love that line because it's so true. Client satisfaction and an even smoother workday. These aren't just scribbles, they are a roadmap to each pet's unique needs, preferences, and history with you. So grab your pens or tablets as we explore why meticulous grooming notes are the hallmark of every truly excellent groomer. So let's talk about what we keep on our cards. Now, for me, I don't keep my grooming notes in my computer or in my phone or in my scheduling app, even though Groommore definitely has places you can put those grooming notes. I want to be able to reference them really quickly while I'm working with the dog without having to open a page, then go look under the name or any of that stuff. So I keep my personal pet records on a 5x7 index card. And I pull my cards every morning before I go out, and then I stick those cards on a clipboard, a 5x7 built. It's a little bigger than 5x7, but one made for those 5x7 cards. And that way I've got everything right there. What about you? How did you used to do it?
I always used cards because I started doing it way before there was any other option. you know,
True.
we always were trained to write down notes about what you did. And I didn't write down every single product, but I wrote down notable products, products that were new to the salon or new to me or the dog. Definitely made notes of any unfavorable events that happened, either dog behavior, customer misunderstandings, customer habits like always late or always early. Early was as much of a problem for me as late because it was an interruption and it would keep me from finishing the last few minutes of the dog that I was working on, who wanted to know, is that my mom? Is that my mom? No. Look, there's a dog coming. I want to see it. Yeah, like so coming early, I always try to train my people to not do that, but some people would do it all the time. So you make a note, then you pull the dog's card out to groom it, and you see that note.
It guides your groom.
It needs a reminder. That's another. There are some people that you could count on now, even once we got going with Groommore or a software system, they get automatic reminders, but there are some people that are not responsive to electronic reminders and they still need a phone call the night before. So it's just a preventative thing. A single action on your part can prevent a missed appointment, an upset, a messed up schedule the next day, or a loss of income. So I would make it, like I just had a few older people usually, or students or whatever, whoever they, people that don't pay attention. And I would make a note of that. If I use some products and I didn't like the result, I would make a note of that. not good result with data and data and data, so I wouldn't make that mistake again and use those products in combination again on that dog.
So this is an area that Barbara and I definitely have different styles in what we record and what we write down. So like on my client cards, I'm sure you did this. This I think is stuff everybody does, right? Client last name and first name of, in my case, as a mobile groomer, everybody who lives in the house. Not that I'm going to remember them, but then when Mrs. is gone and Mr. is there, I actually know what to call him. Or if there's an adult child that might be meeting me, I write that name down. I've got the pet name, the breed, the color. I've got the address and phone number. So all of those things are in my Groomer software. Most of it are. But I can't get to it fast enough if somebody comes up and knocks on the trailer door. So I want to be able to look at that, reference that. That's on the very top of my card. I also want to be able to use it to get to the house or to call the people if I don't have access to my phone, like I've dropped it in the water and it no longer works. Rest in peace. And I'm still out grooming. I want to be able to get to people. So some of the things that I note that probably Barbara doesn't. I note smell or skin sensitivities, so I don't send a walking air freshener into a house where people are allergic or have a scent-free house or anything like that. I would do that accidentally. So I always note that. That goes right underneath the important stuff that I just listed that you might need if you lost your phone. And I highlight it and I put it in a different color so that I don't screw it up, because I've been known to screw that one up and spray some really stinky perfume on a dog that the people don't like. I also need appointment frequency so that I can tell if it's a 6-week dog or an 8-week dog, because sometimes I can tell by looking at the dates. But if something went on and they've shifted their time for some reason, then I can't tell as easily. Plus, I don't do math all that well. So I write down the frequency of appointments. Temperament, like you were saying, temperament and health. Like if there's bad hips, bad knees, I know there's been a surgery, I'll put that on there. And then haircut anomalies. Like, you do a normal haircut and you're going to do a Sani on it, right? Well, I've got a lady who does not want to see her dog's junk. Not in any way, shape, or form see her dog's junk. So I have to remember not to clean all that up under there because she's just very sensitive to that. I also have the long ears or the long tail or stuff like that. I'll put that up there so I try not to miss it every appointment. And then when you have the appointment, I always put the date, the haircut details, the products used, and any new issues found. I also put on the amount charged and how they paid. This stuff comes from being a veterinary receptionist and having to write lots of, I don't know if you call them legal documents, but documents that could potentially be challenged in a court case or whatever. So I write all of that stuff down for that reason. I know lots of groomers probably don't do that. I know Barbara probably didn't every single time write down every single product. What I don't write down is the spray-on stuff. I don't write that. I do write down fragrances because if I see a skin issue showing up, Barbara has taught me, and I'm sure all of you listening, that the fragrance is often one of the first things to look at. So I always make sure to note the fragrance. The new issues, like if I find a new lump, I always make a little map of where the major bumps are so I don't run over them with my clipper comb, because I have a tendency to plow right through. I've taken a few warts off accidentally, but I'll make a little map, new wart on the top of the toe or something like that. The amount charged and how they paid is purely for my convenience because I walk out without the check all the time. I constantly leave my houses without collecting the money. And so if I don't collect the money, I don't write it down. Then I realize I didn't collect the money. And somewhere along the way, I'll get back to them and collect the money. But that's a flaw that I have in myself. And I always include, like you do, when they pass, the date, maybe even a why, if they move or if the dog changes hands. I keep the card and I make those adjustments on it. So those are kind of some of the major things that I list. That's way more than you would ever add, right?
Not way more. It's more. I think my notes were a little more casually organized than yours. And if they needed hypo, I put big letter hypo. Oh, yeah, I used to have a symbol that I would put in the upper left hand corner. On some dogs, I would put an A with a circle around it. That meant asshole.
Okay, well, that's great. That's a good segue. Let's talk about some of the fun abbreviations. So I've got a list. What were yours?
Yeah, well, the asshole one was one that I could discuss, and if the customer saw that their dog had an A with a circle around it, I could say make up something that wasn't asshole, like
Yes.
that means he's a good boy. But I never lied. I said it was sort of humorous way to remind me that the dog was a handful. I used to have a bunch of abbreviations that I think only I could decipher. Like I would put C/C was comfort clip. And that was any short, same length all over. CF, clean face. PF, poodle feet.
I went onto the internet and I searched some of the larger groups to see what ones were out there. So I wrote them down. So I'm going to give you like 18 abbreviations. So always blade size and comb color for me. I have to put the blade size and the comb colors. You do that, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay, I do it all the time because even though I think I remember, I'm always worried I'm not going to remember. And then for the kind of a haircut, I do BC for breed cut, and AO means everything off from the head down, including feathers and breeches and all that stuff. And I kennel clip or KC, I might leave feathering and butt, but those are specific. You got to kind of make your own shorthand. Like Barbara was saying, nobody could understand her shorthand. Some of these, though, are pretty basic, like CF, clean face, clean feet. How do you note a haircut that has the fluffy legs and the shorter body? What would you call that in your notes? Or would you just list the different legs? Or would you just look at the dog and go, oh, that's a longer legs, shorter body cut?
That's where you want to put the size of the comb. It just depends on how I got there. If I just trimmed the legs, I just would put scissored legs.
Oh, I don't have that one. Yeah, I don't have that one.
I have TB for teddy bear.
Yeah, especially TBH. That's a real common one. Teddy bear head, TBH.
TBH.
Yep, that one popped up. B&B, I go bath and brush if it's a dog with a coat. If it doesn't have much coat, I just do bath on there for that. I call, and I don't know if this is right or not, and I can't remember where I picked it up in my journey, but lamb or sport for the fluffy leg, short body. Not sure where that came from or even if it's correct, but that's how I note it.
That comes from back in the day.
Okay.
That's correct. That could be correct.
Yeah, and for the sanitary, I just write Sani, Sani, Sani. I know some people do face, feet, and tail or something like that, FFT or FF something.
FFT was a delineation that we had for when it was a fluffy dog and it came in for just a bath and fluff dry and under the tail and trim the feet and nails instead of a full groom. That was an initial that we used instead of a full groom.
So I've got NT for nail trim, AG for anal glands, or if there's an anal glands problem, or if you have to talk about anal glands or, that kind of stuff. HS, like you were saying, hand scissor. So if I'm doing a head, I'll go HS head, hand scissor head instead of whatever. I also love to use descriptors like Westie head. For a Yorkie, I do a Westie head, and I'll use that as delineation. Also, Schnauzer head. Sometimes I do doodles when they're matted under behind the ears, and I take all that off, kind of go Schnauzer head. There was one I saw that cracked me up. It's NTS. And if the person who wrote this is listening, know that I really cracked up when I saw that. Not today, Satan. So if you can't complete the nail trim, it's an NTS on that line for that date. And the last one that I thought was interesting was SALT, SALT, which is same as last time. I just use dittos. I just write the dittos underneath, but yeah, same as last time. Then, of course, you had mentioned the human behavior. And DNB, do not book. Do not book. So it's a person that's been kicked out. You can't schedule them. You put DNB on the top.
I just scratched through the whole thing. Fuck you.
That's another way to do it. and there is, of course, the ever popular PIA or PITA. The problem with both of those is it's not A with a circle, so people know what that means, but they don't know if it means them or their dog. So there is that. Yeah. As far as the dog, there's HTH, hard to handle. So what nice way of putting a difficult dog's notation up there. And AL or AE, always late, always early, like you mentioned. Those are definitely important. The reason that I'm so careful about the products is because if there's ever a skin condition or anything like that, I really want to be able to look up what I used, not just for the dog who had the reaction, but for other dogs in the future. Because if I know there's a sensitivity with a particular product, especially if it's a new product, then I really want to, for my own benefit, make a note of it. I think that's it. Anything that you, well, of course, we've got way more than you want to go. Let's take a break, and then we're going to head over to B-Bird's classroom where she's going to talk a little bit about iGroom.
Show Season has a great enzymatic cleaner called Kennel Fresh. And you dilute it with warm water, and it smells good, and then it evaporates to be a deodorant. As the Kennel Fresh dries, it's enzymatic, it eats the bacteria and the odor source. So it's really good stuff. You can use it indoors or out. Find it at your local distributors or showseasongrooming.com.
The GroomPod and Precision Sharp would like to invite you to check out the newest precise cut shear called Lynx. Its patented design features a thumb ring that slides the length of the handle for perfect ergonomic placement of your thumb. Slide it, lock it into place, and get your best grooms on. Check it out at precisionsharp.com. Groomers, take your seats. It's time for B-Bird's classroom.
And here we go. So while I was working on the webinar, I did a workup about the technology behind 2-in-1 conditioning shampoos. So what's the difference, we might ask, between a shampoo that conditions and a conditioning shampoo, a 2-in-1 conditioning shampoo?
Barbara, what's the difference between a shampoo that conditions and a 2-in-1 shampoo? I'm curious because I'm looking to use more 2-in-1 type shampoos in my grooming trailer.
There's not necessarily a lot of difference, but I think that it's in the amount of conditioning ingredient that's in the formulation, and the fact that a serious conditioning shampoo, 2-in-1 shampoo, is going to have a suspending agent in there, like glycolstearate and glycolstearate, and then probably marketing. I'll come to an example that I discovered this morning before I get into this, I want to say that I was snooping through iGroom ingredient list while I was working on that webinar, and I was really impressed with the contemporariness. What would that word be? How contemporary. I can't even say it.
How contemporary.
They got modern stuff in there. They are using more consistent ingredients like among their products, and they are using a couple of really on the edge, fairly new conditioning agents that are making a difference in their shampoos. So I feel like I can trust iGroom again because we kind of lost trust in iGroom when at the same time that COVID came around, they sold, they didn't sell out, but
Became part of Nexus.
they became part of the Nexus group of pet product vendors. So Nexus took over some of the management and didn't really control Nexus doesn't really control their members, but they do offer management courses and education and suggestions and pressure to keep the bottom line happening, because when you get bought out or when you participate in a group like that, your business becomes an investment opportunity for unknown investors to invest in. So it becomes imperative that you have a profitable bottom line, that you have a profitable business. And what had happened to iGroom was that grown internationally. So they had like a global enterprise. They had a lot of fairly fancy ingredients. And Jennifer Lee and her husband basically created an elephant they couldn't ride.
Right.
The Nexus was a way to bail out of that situation. They were together, the two of them, filling international orders, ordering new ingredients.
They were overwhelmed.
They were overwhelmed. They were doing the whole thing, and Jennifer even had just a major health crisis that made her reevaluate where she wanted to be. So that when Nexus offered the buyout, they thought it was a reasonable way to survive and keep a hand in the business. And so they did that. They had to reformulate some of their products, such as the charcoal plus keratin shampoo, which was their product of the year. It was the kind of their flagship product. And it was a fantasy product that Jennifer had worked with a formulator to include all of the kinds of things that Jennifer wanted in a shampoo. Thing in the kitchen went in that had something like 24 ingredients. It was a mighty cumbersome formula, and it was expensive. So they had to reformulate it in order to keep the product as a profit maker without losing the unique characteristics of the product. And they did that pretty well. The original list of ingredients, a 2022 COVID list of ingredients, and this year's list of ingredients, all of which are a little bit different. But they've been heading in this direction of you, instead of using a lot of additives and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, they've selected some fairly new well performing ingredients, science based, well performing ingredients to use across the line. And they've kind of narrowed down the botanicals to be chamomile, chestnut, and something I'm not remembering. Three of them that you see in most of their products. And then they kept their really sophisticated fragrances, which was a selling point, an important selling point, that they were a fragrance forward company and had fragrances that smelled more like you might want to use or I might want to use.
More like you. They weren't all that fruity. They weren't all that candy like. They were very sophisticated. They are very sophisticated blends
Yeah,
with lots
yeah,
of layers and levels, and they're nice. They're definitely nice.
definitely nice fragrances. So they kept those. So anyway, I wanted to say that I think that the chaos has definitely settled. They're being very consistent on what they produce. They have really interesting looking ingredient lists. My faith in the company has been restored. So I also, well, the reason that I went there is I wanted to see what was new, and I discovered that they had a new all in one or two in one shampoo conditioner. And I thought, well, let's take a look at this and see if it meets my understanding of a two in one. And it does, and it's really a good product. And I bought a bottle. I wanted to back up my kind of intellectual look at the ingredients with actual performance on my two Maltese. So I have two Maltese and I keep them in smooth body, fluffy legs kind of looks as best I can. And it's kind of a cute leg. I actually liked when I first cut Marco down with a 5 or a 7 blade on his body and took him out of a full show coat. His profile changed. He looked so much more athletic because he looked slim and sleek, and his torso was just super cool. And I kept that look for him, although I have not let his legs fully fluff. It's kind of fun to have fluffy legs on a Maltese that is playing fetch with you. And as he prances with the ball in his mouth, oh, I can't say that word. He's asleep, he can't hear me.
It's almost like he's floating.
It's almost like he's floating. It's really beautiful. So I keep some flow in the coat. I groom all in one shampoo and see how it turns out. And I really like it. I'm judging it against Nature's Special Plum Silky, which even though they don't say two in one, it's a two in one. It's very much a conditioning shampoo, and it leaves the hair beautiful and really smells good and brushes out easily. But it's super softening.
Right.
The eye groom all in one brushes out in the dryer with a brush, not even a slicker brush. You know me, I use a human hair floating pin brush. What I like about it is that it's combable, it smells good, but it's not as soft as the plum silky. So it was easier for me to trim because the coat didn't fall. It stood out a little bit and it allowed me to shape and trim. And same thing with my little female. She is like super sensitive to any tugging in her hair. A lot of it blew out just with the dryer. and then a little bit of brushing to make sure I was straightening it. And at the very end, I went over it with Tweezer Man slicker brush, and both dogs were beautiful. I feel like I can, in good conscience, recommend this product to people to try. It's not at all like the original two-in-one shampoos were years ago that we didn't like and we felt they failed us in the conditioning department. And I think that what the difference is between the two-in-ones of yesteryear and the two-in-ones of today are the advanced quaternary ammonium compounds, or quats, that are cationic conditioners that really have great adherence to the hair, and really provide slip and provide separation of the hair, and the ability of them to possibly, I'm kind of guessing at this, formulate with a little more conditioning ingredient than they were able to hold together in a formula of yesteryear. So that's my guess. Now, I discovered something today. I said, well, if I like the iGroom all in one, why don't I check it out against the iGroom detangling and de-shedding product? So guess what?
What?
The detangling, de-shedding shampoo is very similar to the two-in-one, all-in-one conditioning shampoo. And the biggest difference is that the de-shedding, detangling shampoo contains a monodimethicone, a silicone, and Best Shot uses a mix that is amodimethicone, tridecep 12, and cetrimonium chloride. Those three ingredients come mixed together. And iGroom isn't the only one that uses that mixture, because Artero uses that mixture. Once I figured out one of them was using the mixture, I was easily enough given the ingredients to figure out that the other company was using that mixture too. It's a popular conditioning ingredient mixture.
Sold as a formula together, sold as a piece of a puzzle all together, those three parts?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So now I'm thinking about, I I'm gonna spend money. Like, I can't believe I want to buy more shampoo to put in my hall closet. To I've already got enough pet shampoos to groom my two Maltese till death do us part. I want to try the detangling, de-shedding shampoo and see if it works as a conditioning shampoo without a separate conditioner. Because, hey, two-in-one, right? I
Yes,
mean, it's
yes.
actually three-in-one. It's two. You can do D-sheds as well as, it's so nice, Susie, to be able to bathe these little rascals. And I've got, what I have set up at home is a tub inside my tub on a big X frame, and a big kind of plastic tub that stands in the tub. And, it's not super sturdy, but it is big enough for them, their little Maltese bodies, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it by hand, so that's another thing. The all in one shampoo conditioner rinsed really easily, really easily.
Oh, yay.
It just didn't take extra time to clear the coat. Drying was easy and fast. And I mean, I was able to groom them both on medium heat and air on the little handheld dryer that I bought per your recommendation.
So, what was the fragrance?
The fragrance of the all-in-one is coconut.
Oh, I like coconut.
Yeah, I like coconut. It's a nice fragrance, but it's not very long lasting.
It's probably not a complicated human type fragrance.
It's not a sophisticated type shampoo. I was a little disappointed in the fragrance because of what I expect from, from Igroom. It's got this ingredient that maybe the other people don't understand, but I'm going to tell you about it. Both products have this ingredient called hydroxypropyl bis hydroxyethyl dimonium chloride.
Wow, that's a long one.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister and I love it. It helps to detangle hair, reduce static, and improve wet and dry combing. It also adds shine and a soft and smooth feel to the hair. It enhances the texture of the product and provides long-lasting hydrating effects on the skin and hair. So it's a good moisturizer, and it's used in a number of products and in things besides hair conditioners. So it's something to kind of take note of. So I was happy. I'm a happy camper. Of course, one shampoo leads to another. That's why I need to ask you to, like, if you got a few bucks, send them my way in the way of a donation on the website,
TheGroomPod.com.
the GroomPod.com website, and I will apply it to my expenses of buying these bottles and bottles of shampoo to try out for y'all.
Sounds good, Barbara. And thank you guys for being with us. Thank you for supporting our sponsors. And we will meet back here next week to do it all over again. Happy grooming, everyone. See you next time on the Groom Pod. Bye bye now.
Take care of yourselves because we love you.